The salt wind bites against armor. War drums echo over grey water. Samurai warriors stand on swaying decks, their blades sheathed for the moment, eyes fixed on the horizon. Each breath tastes of iron and sea spray. Tonight, we sail into a chapter few remember, when Japan's warriors fought not on open fields or mountain passes, but upon the shifting battlefield of the sea. Here, discipline met the tide, and the ocean became both weapon and grave. Welcome to Japan Rewind, where we uncover the hidden truths behind samurai, castles, and legends of Japan. Stay with me, because what happened next reshaped the destiny of an island nation that learned to fight upon the waves. When you picture a samurai, you see land. Horses charging through fog, steel flashing beneath cherry blossoms. But Japan is a country born of water, thousands of islands stitched together by restless seas. For more than 1,000 years, whoever mastered those waters held the key to power. Most histories forget this part. They tell of duels and dynasties, not of fleets and tides. Yet Japan's story is inseparable from the sea, a truth that drifted into silence as centuries passed. Tonight we remember the warriors who fought where footing is never certain, the sailors who balanced honor with survival, and the commanders who turned the sea itself into their strongest ally. Setting the stage, long before gunpowder or compass roses, Japan's inland seas were alive with sails and oars. Merchant convoys, fishing boats, and armed escorts filled the waterways linking Kyoto to distant provinces. Control of those routes meant control of trade and destiny. The sea was not a barrier, it was the bloodstream of the realm. From this maritime world rose the first true sea lords of Japan, the Taira clan. They built their power not only with swords, but with ships. And for a time, they ruled the waves as confidently as they ruled the court. The Taira Sea Empire. It is the 12th century. Japan stands divided, yet the Taira dominate the currents that tie its islands together. Their fleets patrol the Seto Inland Sea, a vast corridor of trade and war. Their ships are broad-decked and low to the water, designed for archers and boarding, not bombardment. Rowers pull beneath, warriors fight above. Captains command from raised platforms trimmed in crimson cloth. The ocean becomes their highway, and every tide their courier. To control the waves is to control supply, movement, and rumor itself. But prosperity breeds resentment. Far to the north, the Minamoto clan watches, waiting. When civil war ignites, the conflict spreads across both land and sea. The stage is set for a battle that will drown one age and give birth to another. The Battle of Dan-no-ura, in the year 1185. Mist rises over the Shimosen Strait, a narrow throat of water where tides reverse twice each day. Across the current, two great fleets face one another. The red banners of the Taira against the white of the Minamoto. Arrows darken the sky. The sound is thunder mixed with rain. Then come grapples, cries, and the clash of blades on soaked planks. For hours, the tide favors the Taira. Their ships surge forward, confident and unstoppable. But tides change, and so does fortune. As the current turns, Minamoto commander Yoshitsune orders his fleet to swing with it, striking the enemy's flank. The Taira, now rowing against the flow, lose momentum. And in that instant, betrayal cuts deeper than any blade. The local captain, Taguchi Shigeyoshi, defects mid-battle, revealing which ship carries the child emperor Antoku. Minamoto archers target rowers and helmsmen. One by one, Taira vessels drift helplessly. Realizing defeat, nobles choose death over capture. Mothers clutch their children. Warriors tie themselves to anchors. The sacred regalia are cast into the water. The sword lost to the depths, the jewel pulled back by divers, the mirror's fate kept secret by the court. By nightfall, the Taira are gone. The sea that once sustained them swallows them whole. And the age of the Minamoto begins with the silence of sinking banners. The Mongol invasions, 1274 and 1281. A century later, Japan's fragile unity faces an unimaginable storm. From across the continent comes Kubilai Khan, ruler of the Mongol Empire and master of a war machine that has crushed kingdoms from Korea to Perusia. In 1274, his armada sails for Japan, perhaps 700 ships and 20 to 30,000 men. The defenders wait along the coast of Kyushu. The Mongol fight unlike anything Japan has seen. Explosive bombs, massed archers, disciplined ranks that advance to the beat of drums. But as night falls, the invaders retreat to their ships. Japanese coastal forces strike back in small, fast boats, raiding the anchored fleet under cover of darkness, cutting ropes, setting fires, then disappearing into the mist. When bad weather arrives, the invaders withdraw, battered by sword and sea alike. 7 years later they return, in even greater numbers. But Japan is ready. Since the first assault, the Shiugunke has thrown stone into the surf. The Genkuburui, a massive defensive wall stretching for miles along Hakata Bay, denying the enemy a landing and forcing them to anchor offshore. Night after night, Japanese boats strike again, harassing the fleet, burning supplies, sowing confusion. Then the typhoon comes. Winds scream across the bay. River-built Mongol ships splinter against open-sea waves. By dawn, wreckage floats for miles. The defenders call it kamikaze, the divine wind, a storm so fierce it feels like the gods themselves have intervened. But the truth is simpler. Human resolve held the line until nature finished what it began. Japan would not face another foreign armada for 600 years. The Wako pirates, 14th to 16th centuries. Peace returns for a while, but the sea never sleeps. As central power weakens, the waters between Japan, Korea, and Chiugoku fill with predators known as Wako, pirates, smugglers, and privateers who blur the line between commerce and chaos. Early Wako crews are mostly Japanese, Runin without masters, merchants turned raiders. By the 16th century, the picture flips. Chiugoku captains lead many flotillas, crews are mixed, and profit speaks louder than flags. They know every inlet, every tide. Their ships are shallow-drafted and fast, able to slip from coast to river in a single tide. Governments call them criminals. Villagers call them a necessary evil. They trade stolen goods one day and ferry refugees the next. China and Korea respond with patrol fleets, but the Wako adapt, spreading farther, striking faster. Through them, ideas travel. Improved sails, signaling drums, early forms of coordinated attack. Innovation often blooms in the gray zone between order and anarchy, and the Wako lived entirely in that gray. The Imjin War, 1592 to 1598. By the late 1500s, Japan stands united under Toyotomi Hideyoshi, a peasant-born general whose ambition reaches beyond the horizon. He orders the invasion of Korea, a campaign that will push Japan's logistics, courage, and seamanship to their limits. More than 150,000 soldiers must cross the Korea Strait. Thousands of ships are built or refitted, transports for troops, barges for horses, escorts for protection. It is an operation unprecedented in East Asia. At first, Japanese forces sweep across southern Korea, but at sea, a new kind of genius emerges. Korean Admiral Sunshin commands a fleet of Panokusan warships, broad-decked, cannon-armed, designed for coastal artillery duels. He strikes from concealment, smashes Japan's supply lines, then vanishes behind islands and fog. His armored came ships roar into legend, fearsome, spiked, and shrouded in smoke. Yet Sunshin never fields many at once. Their strength is shock and timing, not mass. The Japanese, trained for close-quarters boarding, find themselves outranged and outgunned. To survive, they adapt. Captains reinforce decks, mount heavier weapons, and coordinate convoys with new precision. Still, the sea remains Sunshin's ally. By war's end, Japan's fleets are exhausted. The dream of conquering the continent drifts away on smoke and tide. The lesson endures. Mastery on land does not guarantee command of the sea. The Silent Centuries, 17th to 19th centuries. In the aftermath, Japan turns inward. During the 1630s, the Tokugawa Shiogunke closes the borders, forbidding overseas travel and limiting foreign contact to a trickle through Nagasaki. The age of exploration passes the islands by. Shipwrights still build graceful coastal craft, traders, ferries, fishing boats. But deep-sea navigation fades into memory. Sailors rely on weather-reading traditions known as hyorami, waiting for favorable winds instead of plotting distant courses. Navigation becomes an art of patience rather than precision. Yet craftsmanship survives isolation. Carpenters perfect flexible wooden joints that let hulls bend with heavy seas. Natural oils and lacquers make hulls watertight for decades. These quiet innovations keep the maritime spirit alive, waiting for the world to knock again. When that knock finally comes, Japan remembers. The Meiji Naval Revolution. The knock arrives in 1854 when Komodoru Perry's black ships steam into Edo Bay, demanding that Japan open its ports. The message is blunt: adapt or disappear. Within decades, the transformation is staggering. Samurai become naval officers, shipwrights become engineers. Ancient instincts meet industrial steel. The new Teikoku Nihon Navy models itself on buritans, borrowing ship designs, tactics, and training. But beneath the steel hulls, the same discipline and precision that once guided a sword stroke endure. By 1905, that fusion of East and West culminates at the Tsushima battle. Admiral Tugu Heihachiru, commanding modern cruisers and battleships, faces Russia's vast Baruchitsuku fleet. The sea between Korea and Japan becomes an arena of smoke and thunder. Wireless signals crackle. Gunnery crews load and fire with mathematical rhythm. Tugu executes a perfect crossing the T maneuver, a masterstroke of timing and geometry. When the smoke clears, nearly the entire Russia fleet is gone. Tsushima is more than victory. It is vindication. Proof that Japan has mastered modern warfare without erasing its maritime soul. The rhythm of the oar now beats in the engines of steel ships. Legacy of the sea. Centuries have passed since armored warriors balanced on heaving decks. Yet their echoes remain. From the Taira's control of the Seto Inland Sea, to Yoshitsune's reading of the tides at Dan-no-ura, to the defenders of Hakata Bay facing the Mongol invaders. Each generation added a verse to Japan's dialogue with the sea. Modern shipyards hum with machines instead of oars, but the principles endure: precision, adaptability, and respect for nature's rhythm. Today, Japan ranks among the great maritime nations of the world, third in shipbuilding behind Chugoku and South Korea, renowned for craftsmanship and technological refinement. Its ocean research, fisheries, and naval design all carry the same quiet genius that once guided wooden fleets through fog and fire. The sea is memory. It never forgets those who learn to listen. The sea remembers what the land forgets, and so do we. When you see a modern Japanese vessel cutting across the Pacific, remember the centuries behind it, the samurai who fought on decks slick with rain, the captains who read the currents like scripture, the storms that shaped a nation's resolve. Which part of this story surprised you most? The tides that turned at Dan-no-ura, the defiance against the Mongol, or the courage of Admiral Isunshin facing impossible odds? Share your thoughts below. I read every comment, and if you want to keep uncovering Japan's hidden past, its warriors, its legends, its forgotten worlds, hit subscribe and join us on this voyage through history. Because on Japan, rewind, legends never truly die. They wait beneath the surface, patient as the tide, for someone brave enough to remember them. Sayonara.